Wait.
H-E-U-C-K.
Just think of Freud. You'll get it eventually. EU, boy. Anyway, episode director.
Dwayne Capizzi. That's Dwayne with a U. C-A-P-I-Z-Z-I. I'm the supervisor producer and head writer.
I'm Jeffrey Harris, FormWarMania.com and ToonZone.net staff writer.
Jack Hurwitz with tformers.com.
Steve Hang with tformers.com.
Tiffany Wong with allspark.com.
Allspark.
Mike, when can we expect season 2 of Transformers Prime to come around?
After season 1.
Like fall 2011 or two,
is that good? Is that the official hub answer? Yes.
Okay.
She was all over it. That's the hub. The hub does all the programming. So we deliver them the shows, and they figure out when the best time is to get the shows out there. But they are awesome programmers.
Okay. So you're in development for the hub. So how about seeing a new series of Mask? Come on.
Hasbro Studios does have a lot of awesome brands, and actually out of all of the 80s brands, Mask is one of the few 80s shows that has not been reimagined yet. So
you would love to
please, I'm a geek.
Thank you.
I would love to do it. I would love it. There's a bunch of brands that we're looking at as we look forward to the next 2 or 3 years of what we're going to be doing at Hasbro Studios with the hub. Mask is something that comes up a lot because there are a lot of geek fans at Hasbro as well.
The old series is about to be released by Shout Factory soon, so give us a new Mask series.
Something. Do it. Yeah. You say yes. Well, if Jose said yes,
see, he agrees.
There you go. Stay after work and do it.
Yeah, exactly. As Jeff said, everyone likes working for free. So
I love Jim Carrey. Go on.
Not that one.
Dwayne, how could you?
What you got? What you got?
They took everything out of me.
They're draining.
They take.
Jose, who's like your favorite character you've gotten to design or work on for this show?
I have to say, probably Soundwave. I mean, this is what the most...
The one that scared you the most? Yeah.
Traumatizing experience. Designing, I think, because we took a lot of liberties. Everything starts from awesome writing. So the direction that the character was going I always thought it was very different from what I did. Obviously, he can't be a boombox.
He can't what? I'm sorry.
Be a boombox.
Boombox?
Yeah, it would have to be like an iPod or something.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
When we design the characters, we look at that and we look at the most iconic elements of every character. We pick those elements and we change everything else. So obviously the personality of the character will dictate a lot of what the shapes and the design is going to be like. It's a big part. The vehicle mode is a big part of what we're going to do. So, once we've decided what type of vehicle he's going to be, then we start creating. But I think, to me, designing Soundwave was a lot of fun. Designing RC was a lot of fun. I like the girls in the show. Miko,
what comes first?
Ragnit.
Is the writing that's first, or the
writing always comes?
So you'll work off of the script?
Not necessarily a script, but a description of what the character's personality.
Yeah, when we decide, we decide that we're gonna, or you guys decide and tell us that, we want to put so and so in the show, and Hasbro goes, awesome, we're gonna do so and so. Even before these guys have written out the whole script, knowing that we're gonna do that, these guys will all sit in a room and, what's this character going to be like? What's the personality? We'll do this, we'll do that, and then...
And something we'll be starting to do also, Brand will provide a guide of, the elements that they want to keep within the character. So what things that, we might not be aware that are important elements within the design, that they're important to them, important to the fans.
Well, like Wheeljack. Yeah, that was one of the first. We early on when like Jeff said, early days when we were hardly a studio and we were building it up. You're working with Rhode Island and you're trying to figure out, well, we're designing this stuff and we're figuring out, but you don't want to design something and then send it to Rhode Island to look at and have them go, you totally forgot this or you didn't do this. So we got them to send us these kind of one-page sort of art inspiration things where they'd be like, here's the things about this character that are important. So like for Wheeljack, it was like the mask and the things on the side. Yeah, the head fins.
So Wheeljack is I think is the one design that we kept the most true to the G1 version. And I think it was But it,
Well, some are less. Like with Arachnid, they kind of were like, go to town. Like,
yeah, it just depends. I mean, some of the earlier versions, they're just too outdated and they want a fresh take on them. And like I said, it's the personality of the character, the direction of the story, what kind of things the character has to do, and the vehicle.
Jose, when we first see Skyquake in robot form, was his first design a bit of a keep? Because it looked like before he did the scan in the jet, it looked like his robot body was already in the form of what, like a robot transformed into a jet would look like.
If I could, we sort of have like sort of a reasoning behind it, but you know, absolutely, it is because of the CG limitations.
Right.
But our reasoning is sort of, you know, when they were on Cybertron, they did have their Cybertronian vehicle forms. So our thinking is their choice of what Earth vehicle they're going to be usually parallels what they were back on Cybertron. So that's our thinking.
Well, when you look at like War for Cybertron, the game,
right?
For the most part, the jets were like cool Cybertronian jets. The vehicle, the cars were cool Cybertronian cars. So Dwayne's right. Absolutely, it's because of the limitations of CG. Because you don't want to build a build that you're going to use for 20 minutes of an episode and then build another build. But it kind of makes sense.
But you know, we try when we design those characters, like Wheeljack is a good example, or Skyquake. Even Wheeljack, like we try to hide the wheels on the shoulders, and we try to give him like fancier looking rims, so it doesn't look like, it looks a little bit more alien. Same thing with Skyquake, we try to break the parts a little bit more so it doesn't, you can sort of tell that it's a jet, but it could be anything else.
So physical Wheeljack didn't inspire you to Wheeljack?
Mike, I don't know if you can clarify this at all. There have been a lot of debates. Is this series a continuation of the War for Cybertron video game, or is it just another chapter in the Transformers pantheon?
How could it be a continuation if War for Cybertron ends like eons before our series begins?
Well, because we do leave Cybertron and go to Earth. I think that the rule that we kind of go by is we don't go out to contradict anything,
right?
And we want it to be something so that if you, as a Transformers fan, you want to have that continuous experience. It works about 85% makes sense, and that those little things that pop up, like a different name here, or a different thing here, your vehicle form didn't, or a thing that happened in the game, and we referenced something that happened on Cybertron and it wasn't quite a match. We all discussed the fact that there's going to be those little things that as we continue to build the big continuity that don't quite match, but in the broadest strokes, yes, we are trying to create a giant continuity for Transformers, but if these guys come up with something that's great for story and it doesn't quite match, we're always going to err on what makes the best story.
I just think of it like a Transformers multiverse.
Yeah.
A Transformers multiverse where everything counts. All of it counts.
I like that.
Yeah. But and I didn't. If it's my response sounded snarky, it wasn't. It's just what I meant by my continuation is obviously Transformers Prime is not a direct sequel because a lot has happened in between. So I mean, I may have said this about to me, for those who are getting caught up in the continuity and things don't quite hook up. To me, I think the best way to enjoy, just sort of let yourself go, is think of War for Cybertron, and Exodus, and the war as ancient history. This is stuff that happened a long, long time ago that sort of informs the current events. And I think we again trying to let our series operate on a couple of different levels. We didn't want to alienate new 7-year-olds coming to the property with too much backstory, thrown in. But yet, our characters, our Autobot characters, are clearly characters who have been through a war, continue to be fighting a war, have been at it for centuries. There's a sense of war weariness, to the characters, and I think they clearly carry that burden as characters in the series. So the reference points are there.
Does that mean you haven't played War for Cybertron, Dwayne?
You haven't played it, have you?
I have not played it.
I watched all the cinemas. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think you can just go on YouTube and just watch all the cinematics one after the other. Someone actually edited like the actual in-game sort of play into sort of a movie along with the cinematics as well.
What people really don't know is that actually Arkham Asylum and Arkham City and Transformers Prime are in the same continuity. So that's the big spoiler.
I had a feeling. So the little teaser at the end. Who inspired that big head that spoke to us?
Yeah.
I do have a big head.
I was just trying to see if I can get something out of it.
Was that the Fallen?
I can either confirm. It's a.
What does he transform into? You can just tell us that.
that actually I can't say. You will.
Transforms into.
It's going to be Rainbow Dash.
It's something.
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see the toy.
Yeah, we're like
Leader size, Voyager.
Yeah, but no, we wanted to tease it, and we got to leave it at that because it would be too big.
Okay, well, I was just trying to get a little bit more.
There's a lot of discussion because should we tease it or not?
Release online?
I'm sure somebody taped it, so if it didn't,
The Phase, do some research.
Dwayne, when does Silas enter into frenemy territory? Because that's definitely where he's heading, right?
Oh, is that what you think, huh?
I want to call Silas a frenemy, but it doesn't seem he's quite there yet.
But what makes you think it's going that way? I'm curious.
Because a character like that at some point will be frenemy in frenemy territory.
Wait, are you thinking a frenemy to Megatron or a frenemy to Optimus?
Well, we don't know.
Oh, okay.
He could be a frenemy to the Decepticons or a frenemy to the Autobots.
Well, you know, we are.
I just want him to be frenemy.
We are playing a lot of frenemy stuff, and they're. I mean, to say anything more about Silas, it's actually a arc that pays off devastatingly in season 2.
I think it's safe to say that Silas gets closer to some of the characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Vincent, since I wanted to get to you, what's the toughest part of your job in working on Transformers Prime?
It's having a script and then
Reading it.
and then well, yeah,
Going, holy shit!
holy shit! Just have to like make this come to life in a sense. I mean, I'm just part of the process. I meet with my board artists and we come up with shot ideas together. But yeah, it's just having those. So you have this big pile of what used to be storyboard paper, but now is all done digitally, and that you just have to make that and the model sheets, and then realize it visually. That's a challenge.
Yeah, one of the things that shout out to all these guys is that when you work in animation, most of the time, it's always good, but like you read a script and your imagination runs wild, and then you see the animatic and you're like, wow, this is going to be great, and then it goes through the whole process, and by the time the animation comes back, it's always awesome, but your brain, like the way you imagined it, was always like so much bigger and more epic, and I can safely say that this show just goes beyond what I even pictured. Like I read this, and I'm like, this will be really good. And I've worked in animation, so I know how this will end up looking. And just because of the way that these guys and Dave have decided to go so cinematic, and the level at which Dwayne and all the writers are working, and just the designs and everything, I almost no episode has come back where I wasn't like, that looks better than I even picture it.
Vincent, I think one of the benefits for CG for a series like this is that it can definitely sort of enhance the direction and sort of the camera angles you can take, and you can make the animation a little more dynamic. The camera can be more kinetic, can move a little bit. I think
like thinking more in terms of live action.
Right. Would you agree with that? Like, I mean, I think in the last episode we saw like the scene with Miko in the cave with Bulkhead. It was just really intense, really intense and really good close-ups, and also very it felt very claustrophobic, which you might not really get as much in a traditionally animated show.
Yeah. And really, too, if you notice, it's about not overusing what we have as far as being able to move the camera and just making sure that the camera's just on those characters and just letting those dramatic scenes play, But then when we want to do a big 360 as long as the set is built in 360, you know, and that's another thing. That's almost like working with live action. You have these sets. Sometimes the sets are just 3/4 built, and you can only do a couple different angles, and you know, sometimes you can do it 360, but in the background is just matte paintings. It's very fascinating.
So how does the process work? You start with a description, then you go to design, and then do you take all of that and pull it together?
I sit in with the voice